Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, I know it's been a long time. Just shoot me. Welcome to another cat stream, and hello, I am the Common Sense Guy. Welcome back. So yeah, we're going to be doing a show. I'm here with Jensen Quinn. There's supposed to be some other twat that's supposed to be here, but apparently he's not here yet. So we'll get to that later. Hi, Mr. Jensen Quinn. How are you doing?
I'm still alive, sir. Thank you for asking. Still too stubborn to die.
It's probably a good thing, and probably something that you should hold on to.
I have heard rumours that this is a suggested thing to do, and apparently, if I allow myself to die, both my sister and my girlfriend have every intention of making, I would say, my life a misery, but my death a misery.
That's fair enough, but I mean, apart from that aspect, a girlfriend, you say?
Yes.
Oh
Have
dear.
I not told you? Have I not told you about my Angie?
No, you have not told me about your girlfriend, your Angie.
Bloody Nora! I'm actually shocked. I really am. Yeah, well, I'm happy to tell you about it off air, or
Yeah, no, that's fine. Affair's fine. Oh, no, that's definitely news to me. I know that everybody kept on saying girlfriend and things like that. So when you said, "Oh yes, B and my girlfriend," for some strange, stupid reason, I straight away thought that you meant Sharati.
oh, don't. Even her husband has now actually started calling me her boyfriend.
Well, you know,
Oh, hello. We have a memes in
we
chat.
do have a memes, but apparently memes is not actually ready to come on the show.
He's shy.
We're searching for a memes. A wild memes has appeared. We are getting ready to throw our Pokeball.
Yes, yes.
In other words, check your Discord and Hangouts is in there.
Ah, bloody Nora. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
you said that you were going to be coming
You
on the show
cut.
memes.
Yeah, he's forgotten. Oh God.
Eh, I wouldn't expect anything less of memes.
That's actually a valid statement. Yep, that's fair.
I really wouldn't expect anything less of memes. Uh, I suppose while we're waiting for memes, not unless you have any other news that you would like to go through.
Um, no, actually, I'm pretty, fairly normal. All I'm really doing is getting better. I'm still on a random amount of pills, and I still have random sleep patterns, which is really bloody annoying.
Yeah, it's probably not the best of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but I have literally fallen asleep while MC's having a rant, and now, you know, you've heard when he goes off on one, he is bellowing and screaming like a good one. I still managed to fall asleep to that.
I'm not gonna say anything. I feel it's
It's
best for
okay.
me.
He never watches your show. Oh
I've
God.
seen it come on every now and again. I see him watch a video. I do try and watch his stuff quite often. I'm sure he does the same when he can find the time. I'm sure. It's
Yeah.
just I don't like the ranty thirdness. I mean, everybody has their own thing. Some people really enjoy that. I just kind of like the stories. But to be fair, I can't say that he doesn't make good points.
Yeah, that is actually a valid thing. Oh, so as you know, memes and him do a thing on Friday nights. It's quite entertaining. Just listening to MC trying to explain his point to memes, and memes randomly talking about, well, pretty much whatever comes into his head at that second. It's adorable to listen to. It really is.
To be fair, I can imagine how it mostly goes, where MC's trying to make exceedingly good points, and memes just goes out saying, "Yeah, but I'd like chocolate."
Yeah, yeah. We can pretty much guarantee there's an I like trees, I like chocolate, I like bicycles. Pick something, basically.
Yeah, well, the way that him and his partnerships go, then he's definitely on a form of a conveyor belt.
Yeah, I'd love to argue that, but that's a valid point, sir.
Oh, I suppose we best go on to the amazingness of, shall we say, flat Earth. I know that I have a story that says that it's the lunar satellite captures stunning images of solar eclipse, and I'm sure that the images are amazing. I'm sure they are. I really am. I'm sure that they are. But I'm more interested in that big round ball there. And no, not the moon. That kind of, when flat earthers go, well, I want a picture. It's like, there's one there. Like, of the whole earth. There's one there.
It's a cool looking
Yeah,
marble.
but you've got.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
hello.
Hey guys, what's going on?
not
Hey,
much.
memes.
Just waiting for you to turn up. Though we were waiting for your
My
conveyor
apologies.
belt clicking from you.
I had a doctor's appointment today, and I needed to go get food for my cat, and I kind of forgot.
Yeah, I gathered. I'm not high
I'm like
on the
popping in. I'm
list.
like, oh, I can make a video, and I'm like, oh, CSG is live. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's all right. I've often been called an afterthought.
It's all right. I put on my YouTube/memetic shirt for you guys, and it's freshly clean out of the laundry.
Nice.
Yay! Oh, I just realised that I took that away.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Not that much.
Okay.
We're talking about flat Earth at the minute, but I'm using the no, but I'm not.
CSG, you need to watch the new Godzilla King of the Monsters movie. It's not a flat Earth; it's a hollow Earth. That's how Godzilla gets there so fast, because he hits those under subterranean lava streams. So it goes pew pew.
Does that mean it's actually hollow, as in a donut-shaped Earth, or does it mean that there are lava tunnels that Godzilla can actually go through, which doesn't actually make it hollow? Just means that it's wide enough for Godzilla to go through.
As somebody who lives in the state that brought the world Dunkin' Donuts, donuts come in all different shapes and sizes.
This is
Okay,
fair.
let's go with a bagel then. There's a bagel that has a hole.
Is that an anti-Semitic remark?
I don't know. Are you Jewish?
Half. Well, the wrong side. I forgot to celebrate Hanukkah.
Are you being anti-Semitic if it's the wrong side?
I'm a bad Jew.
But no, the reason why I wanted to actually show it is because obviously you have lots of people that are coming out talking about flat Earth and trying to go, oh, we haven't got any pictures and haven't got any of this and we haven't got any of that. It's like, what do you call this then? This is a satellite image.
Well, to be fair, CSG, that is a two-dimensional photograph.
Which is what they asked for.
But they wanted to say it's round. Aren't they referring to the spherical shape?
That's pretty circular.
Well, yeah, but a plate is also circular.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I mean, that kind of suggests that it's not a flat plane.
I mean, when we look at other objects, I mean, most of them kind of appear to be spinning spheres and stuff. Either that or they're able to change their makeup to heavily troll us, which, well...
Are you really arguing for a flat Earth?
I'm just saying that photo in and of itself does not necessarily prove a round. CSG, if I'm going to consider myself a skeptical person, I need to do it. This is why I pretty much argue with almost every point ever made, even if I don't necessarily disagree with it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is why people hate me.
Pretty much. I'm glad that you had the epiphany by yourself. We led you to your logical conclusion.
I keep getting told it's just memes. Stop talking. And I'm told this from people I live with, from people I do other stuff and things with, and wow. Huh. It is all my fault. Huh.
It's not your fault. It's just the way that society brought you up.
Oh. Bourgeois as fuck?
Nah, I would have said Z.
What?
Bourgeoisie.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah, Dragon Ball.
Well, oh. I was gonna say I'm a oh, dude, if we had freaking like capsules and shit, that would be awesome. See, that's where I was hoping we would be about nowadays. It's like, no parking, poof, pop it in your pocket and go on with your day.
for anybody that doesn't know, he's talking about the idea of Capsule Corporation from Dragon Ball Z, where literally everything can apparently fit into a capsule.
Everything from food to hovercraft to basically
Spaceship.
a fallout shelter. It's kind of like Just Add Water, except you literally just click it and it goes.
Wow.
So it's like a bag of holding without the bag.
Kind of.
So you want to talk about news or something, or you sent me some things that I tangentially looked at the links for.
I did. Well, that was the thing about the flat Earth, the thing that I was talking about before.
Oh, you did send me this link. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but this is hilarious.
See, a lot of people would go, memes is just being really stupid at the minute. It's like, nah, he's trying. He's trying very hard.
What?
Memes isn't being stupid, he's being memes.
No. Memes is being very smart and trying to be a 100% level troll.
The funny thing about that is if we're going to continue along the Dragon Ball analogy, at the point where it goes from trolling, and if I don't know if I'm trolling, does that make it Ultra Instinct?
No.
Okay.
It kind of makes you like Ariel.
Oh, I like Ariel.
Not the Little Mermaid.
Arale.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, well, she kicked Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta's butt.
She did.
She almost destroyed the planet.
She did until Beerus was going to destroy her.
Oh, but he destroyed the ghosts.
He did because he's a god of destruction.
So it's a happy ending.
I don't know about a happy ending. I mean, nobody was able to tug me off.
Well, I mean, it was an ending. Wait, what? You got ticked off? Well, CSG, you need to spend less time on Twitter.
To be fair, I probably do need to spend less time on Twitter. To be fair.
That is the one thing that I am lucky that I have not been addicted to. Because I get addicted to many things. And I see myself, as soon as I log in, I'm like, what's going on Twitter? Oh, look at an article. I'm like, oh, horrific, terrible thing. Oh, looks like people are saying some stupid shit. Oh, my God. And I start. I'm like, oh, my God. I've tweeted how many times? Ugh.
See, I've had a little bit of a discussion with somebody about whaling, and don't get me wrong, I'm mostly against it. I don't really like the idea of anybody going out of their way to go and forcefully whale again. I don't see the necessity or necessity of it.
Well, no, they have the First Amendment right to go out there and scream to their heart's content. I mean, otherwise we'd have to arrest that lady from the Trump election.
No, I agree. I'm not arguing that the person shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, you're talking about World of Warcraft, the Whaling Caverns.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Actually trying to do stories.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I clicked on my channel.
Yeah.
I should probably keep looking at the same thing. No, wait, that's Jensen. Oh, okay. So what are we doing next? Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know. I don't have a clue why you're trying to take
It's the
over.
second one. The festival? Are we talking about the festival?
We will be, yes.
Okay. Which one are we on?
We're currently on the first one.
Okay, so the Earth.
Well,
yes.
No, I've moved on. I'm not interested in flat Earth.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
But I was kind of interested in explaining that this woman on Twitter that was against the whaling because think of the cows and how people are being hypocritical at moaning about whaling but not moaning about the cows.
Wait, what about the cows?
Yeah, that's what I asked. That's what I asked, and she didn't say anything.
Well, they are farting a lot.
No, she meant the killing. But anyway, let's go on to the festival. So, from somehow managing to get from Sky News, festival charges double ticket price for non-people of colour. Wait, isn't pink or white a shade of colour?
Yes.
Okay. Does that mean that white people are not coloured?
To be fair, if you are more blanco or white in your state of appearance, you're technically every color except white because that's the light that's actually refracting off because all the other colors are absorbed in.
So basically, what you're
It's kind of
telling
like the
me.
sky is actually green.
Cool. So what you're actually trying to tell me is that I could actually say that I'm black, and I can actually say I'm Asian, and I can actually say I'm Mexican because memes said so.
Well, in that instance, I think you're referring to ancestry, which is a better categorization.
No. Talking about color, because
Oh, I mean, you could
apparently
say
ancestry
you're
doesn't matter
essentially
anymore.
every other color. I mean, from a scientific perspective, technically, yeah.
Oh, that's good then. I will use that, and I will use this as a reference. Memes said I could do it.
Oh, well, why the hell would you listen to me? I'm some dude on the internet.
I don't know. You got a good shirt.
Oh, is that all it takes?
It's literally all it takes. I'm yours.
Well, Donald Trump is president of the United States, so.
I like Cheetos.
Oh God, two of them.
As long as they're
Oh.
crunchy. And a little
I
stale.
can do a memes too.
So what happened over here at this concert? Apparently, there was some discrimination.
Very much so, yeah. A music and arts festival in Detroit is charging fans different prices depending on their skin color. The controversial pricing plan has led to one artist pulling out of the event, saying she was enraged by the policy. The organizers of the Afro Future Fest, set for the 3rd and 4th of August, are charging lower rates for tickets bought by people of color than for non-people of color. In other words, white people. So the early bird tickets for the people of color were $10 and were $20 for non-people of color, white people.
So, like, were they offering a ancestral discount
Nope.
to certain? So they were just jacking up rates based upon the color of someone's skin.
Yep.
Yes.
There was literally no other reason apart from them trying to say that there's economic disparity between the colors of people.
But
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. I broke him.
No. And here's the thing: if you're gonna try, okay, let's face it. I've helped out at bars and stuff like that, and it's like, yes, we'd have ladies' night, so we would give ladies a discount. Whether or not that was actually legal, that's another question in and of itself. However, it was a discount. It was not an increased rate. Wow.
Mhm.
So I was going to say they may have actually had a better chance to try to get away with it. I mean, it's still discriminatory just because equal protections clause and all that stuff and things. Because that whole what is it? The principle of kings: judge one not by the color of the skin, but by the content of their character. And can't we all just get along?
Yes, Mr. King. Yes, we can.
But no,
Exactly.
I'm not a king.
Have you
I'm a
actually
dragon
not
king.
heard about that? Apparently, it's there are people suggesting that that entire speech was actually racist. Yep, that's right. People are calling MLK Jr. racist.
Well, I know he was misogynistic.
Well, Jensen, I just have two questions. Number one,
Yep.
where did you hear this?
This was actually something I saw through Twitter, which I then done a little bit of research on, and there was more than a few people actually talking about it on YouTube in little skit areas. Now, I understand that you can't necessarily trust all that you hear on the internet, but yeah, just the thought that there were people out there trying to suggest that Martin Luther King was racist. I don't actually know what to say to them. And this came up just after I found out that they were calling the father of your country, George Washington, racist.
Technically, there's an argument for it, but
So,
besides the point on that one.
if there's one thing that I've learned after an hour and 7.5 minutes, it's that George Washington's primary sets of teeth were made of rhinoceros ivory. But Jensen, my second question.
Hippopotamus.
Okay,
Yep,
so
go for
apparently
it.
I didn't learn anything from that hour and 8 minutes.
Apart from I'm racist.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. But Jensen, the second question: what do you think the likelihood of these people are of trolling?
Oh, I am willing to accept that they are quite possibly trolling. And if they're not, then to put it bluntly, God help your country if
I
they
mean,
are actually making that claim.
my big thing is, at least from growing up in the greater 90s era, if there's one thing that I took away from the 90s and early 2000s was we did have a show, that 70s show, which was a 90s, early 2000s based show about the 70s and the memetics thereof. And if there's one thing that I took away is, especially when you're a young person, sometimes you do stupid shit. And there was a dad type figure there, Red Foreman, and his standard response to those situations was dumbass. So I just factor this into my world that people occasionally will do things that Red Foreman, you'd have that meme of just him going, dumbass. Oh my God, my head looks tiny on this. But dude, all I know, man, is rule one of the internet. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. And I factor in, when I look at stuff happening on the internet, I usually account for about a 20% troll factor. So it's right about the same as the placebo factor. So if I factor in about a 20% level of trolling in there, when I look at the actual things that happen, especially depending on what it is, the correlation of that and stuff, I'm like, I might not like it, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, with the idea of Martin Luther King and the racist and everything else of that, I've heard it from a lot of people, especially on the left, unfortunately, that have actually pushed that as an actual fact. They're trying to say that he was a racist. He was against the idea of mutually coming together. He was a communist. He was this. He was that, and maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't really know. I don't really look into it too much on that aspect. But at the same time, I don't think somebody that was asking for people to be treated equally could be called a racist.
Well, I
But
mean, you could call him a communist.
he probably was, at least socialist in his identity anyway. But besides that, he definitely I don't think he could call him a racist and actually mean that properly. But then again, on the actual story that we were talking about, I have actually found the actual event, the organizers that were actually giving their reasoning for behind it.
Oh, sweet. Journalism.
Well, apparently. The organizers explained their pricing in the frequently asked questions sections of their event website. It stated, "We do have a POC, people of color, and a non-POC tickets. I'm glad you've asked. Equality means treating everyone the same. Equality is ensuring everyone has what they need to be successful." No, that's equality of outcome. That's not equality. But carrying on, "Our ticket structure was built to ensure that the most marginalized communities, automatically the people of color, are provided with an adequate chance at enjoying events in their own community, the Black Detroit." Even though there's no such thing as a white Detroit, apparently, that could also be marginalized. So, what do you think about that, memes, as you would normally try to find the best in both sides?
Okay, so basically a lot of this BS simply could have been avoided by saying, hi, we provide a discount to in-city residents. Boom.
But they didn't, because they wanted to literally separate people.
Well, how'd it work out for them?
They had a couple of people pull out,
Did it still make money?
probably.
Okay. Who lost?
White people paying not wanting to go, possibly.
Could they get a refund?
Why should they have to?
Because they felt like they got screwed.
Yeah, but why should they have to when it's a case of them being screwed? Not necessarily comes from the fact of who was playing, because otherwise they wouldn't have gone anyway, but for the differential in pricing.
Isn't that the free market? You can argue the legal prudence of it, and of course that could be taken up within the court system with the people whom run or are responsible for the event. But if somebody's willing to pay. I'll give you an example. So way back in the day when I was at the mall, because those were still things and fun and stuff, and the food court and nom 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 Chinese food. But so I went to like what was it? Not E3. One of the game stores before GameStop. Actually, no, I think it was a GameStop. Yeah, we had two of them. So yeah, I'm going to GameStop and I look at this cool like fighter jet game. I'm like, oh, this is like $60. So I go and just randomly at Marshall's in a clearance bin, I'm like, huh, isn't this the same game? This is like $8. Sweet. And I was going to pay like $60 for it. Actually, the game was EF2000, which stands for Eurofighter 2000, which was actually a very good game.
Well, some people would say it's not, but besides that.
Oh, I mean the setup of this actual event. Yeah, it's racist.
That's fine. I mean, you even have a biracial rapper who's been based in Detroit that's actually come out and said, I was immediately enraged just because I am biracial. I have family members that would have, under those circumstances, been subjected to something that I would not ever want them to be in, especially not because of anything that I have going on.
Well, yeah, no, like her grandmother would have had to pay higher rates.
Sure. But do you think that she would want to force somebody else to have the same aspect or the same oppression onto them that her grandmother had?
Oh, I mean, her grandmother was white, at least according to somebody I heard. I think Maddie covered it earlier in the article. But no, you don't. Here's the thing: if for any type of historical oppression, the solution is not inversing it and just oppressing the other people. I mean, the prerequisite for political stability is social justice. For is the nature of things that injustice will not endure. I would add, doesn't matter where the injustice comes from.
See, I would completely and utterly disagree with your premise at the beginning, which I know it's not your premise, you're quoting someone. But I would say that the social justice is not ineptly the reasons for political stability. It would be justice in itself. Social justice implies that you are going to manipulate the justice to go to an outcome of your own desired choice, where justice is everybody's treated equally regardless.
So is that a more modern or is that a more classical definition of social
I would
justice?
say that that's see again, social justice in itself is more of a case of it being a doctrine to be able to say that it's a case of I'm going to manipulate these processes to make sure that we get the right outcome that I perceive them to be, i.e., affirmative action.
Are you sure that's not just what you've taken from yelling at people on the internet for the past 2 or 3 years?
No, because if we're going to go on by the colloquial definitions of what we're talking about, then
That's
that
why
would
I
mean,
asked. You're saying colloquial. You take
yeah,
it as that, and a lot of more folks on the left,
question that.
maybe not necessarily all leftists, MC, but at least many people on the left, they see it as social justice, and that if people are being oppressed, that's what like the whole like civil rights movement and stuff was about, because there was inequitable treatment. So moving forward towards equity in the range of being treated equally, having that
Sure.
opportunity to succeed and not having things like, oh, you guys sit on the back. Dude, my grandmother got sent to the back of the bus one day because she was a young Jewish woman that happened to be laying on the beach all day, and then she gets on the bus and like, you have to sit in the back. And of course, my grandmother, the time, she's like, no, look at me, I'm white, and she's pulling that. It's like, no, that's not.
Sure. I still have two questions then at that point. Would you say that anybody at that point in time was saying that it was a social justice to be able to fight for civil rights? And if you are going to say that that's what they said, show me a quote that states that it was a social justice movement and not a justice movement.
Oh, to be fair, I was introduced to it by that quote from Professor Peterson's first book, Maps of Meaning.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitions are important.
That's
By
the
the
second
way,
question.
if I may, I'd just like to interrupt here. This exact situation has already occurred over in Britain involving the Labour Party. I don't know if you knew about that.
I did indeed. I covered it with you and Magic Bollocks, I believe, around about 6, 7, 8 months ago when they were doing their primary elections about Iran and so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, I was actually talking to memes with that one actually, but I knew that we had already done it. I didn't know if memes had actually heard about this. Yeah,
Oh,
we've actually been in this exact position, but this time actually involving a political party doing it.
Oh, yeah, no, I think I remember hearing something about that. Wasn't like the BBC or something like that. They were adding very specific ancestral components. It's just, I'm not going to lie. I feel like a ringing in my ears in the absence of not getting yelled at by MC. Just because I literally had like 7 hours of that the other day, and it's just become like my normal background noise. So I can just kind of talk. I think I could actually fall asleep to it.
Oh yeah, I have.
Oh, I feel like I should say grats, but I feel like that's a medical condition.
Probably is a
It
medical
is
condition.
actually.
So just to bring it back to the actual story in itself, I think that we can probably all agree that this is definitely a form of discrimination. And is it an actual form of forced segregation again? As in, we are trying to, or they are in this instance, trying to show that there are differences between people, and them trying to do a good thing by showing that there's differences is actually forcing the fact of segregation and separation of the two peoples again.
I just see. I'd be curious at the data of the tickets sold for the different prices, because if you only had like 2 tickets for like the higher price, it's like maybe you're missing out on additional revenue. That just seems like not a good idea.
As far as I'm aware, that they had the early bird ticket for the people of color, which was $10, and the early bird non-ticket, which was £20, and then you had another one which was £20 for the people of color, and then it was £40 for non-people of color or white people.
Oh, I mean, you could also just show up to the event and give some dude probably like $10.
Maybe so, but the whole point of the actual story is not a case of would the free market actually be able to provide and sort this out, but it's the actual intention of the actual people that were event managing this and what their intentions were.
I think they were trying to draw light to historical injustices. It's just the way. Wait, this was the United States, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like they broke the law. Yeah. MC can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is just blatantly breaking the law. You're discriminating. I could be wrong.
I'm not 100% sure that it is, because otherwise people would have taken them to court over it, and it wouldn't be a story of this just happened.
Well, that's why I say I don't know, because this could be one of those weird things where it's like, well, because of this or that. Well, I mean, you think about like, what are you going to sue? Oh, I voluntarily paid this additional amount of money, even though it said this. So
I mean, it was
it's not a good
similar.
look. I mean, none of it's a good look. I think they
No,
were
I mean,
trying to do something kind of cool, but
I don't think they were trying to do anything cool, unfortunately. That if you're going to try and do it for an aspect of economical situations, then do it for an economical situation. Don't do it from a purely based, if you're this color, then you must be oppressed, because that does not work. It doesn't wash. It doesn't correlate.
they should have just said additional donation, and then you could write like they could put your name on like a little thing that goes by, kind of like a Streamlabs or a Super Chat thing at the bottom of the screen. I think that would have been an optimum way to maximize your revenue and draw attention to historical injustices. You could just do something like that, like ask folks, and like folks like this is what MC tells me all the time. It's like don't demand, but ask. I've seen folks ask on like a lot of smaller YouTube channels like ourselves. It's like if somebody is really in dire strait, if you ask, like people are freaking generous. I've heard things where somebody asked,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, this raised like $100 and something bucks or something. Like,
Yeah.
there were like 8 people watching.
Yeah. No, I completely not only with you on that. I've seen that. I've had that happen for myself as well. People have helped me out on even my smaller version of this channel, so I completely with you on that.
All right,
I still think
MC. I'm sorry, CSG, but MC, according to MC in the chat, it is breaking the law, but taking them to court will require a high-priced lawyer for a $10 refund.
yeah. But I suppose that you could put all of the $10 into one aspect.
At least $100 a billable hour for a case that's probably going to be at least 2 weeks away. Yeah.
I understand. But we had similar in this country, as Jensen Quinn said before, and nobody was really bothered about that aspect. They just see it and just went on and said, "Oh no, it's done for a good cause. It wasn't done for this," and nobody really seemed to be able to push it on anything. Though I would last time that I'm going to comment on this because I don't really think that I should be stuck on this particular story for too long, but it does seem to be that it was not a case of it trying to show differentials in the aspect of, well, you're this color, so you must be this way. It seemed that it was more to do with you're white, you should pay more regardless of your economical standings. It was more of a prejudice towards a particular race or color or creed, and not really taking into consideration what the other economical standings of those people would be. It was solely based on their color.
Well, I mean, they got a whole bunch of people talking about, complaining about, and ours pulling on. That's usually never a good sign.
I mean, what would happen, for instance, if I was to say that this was reversed?
Well, I mean, historically, in a lot of ways, it was.
Exactly. But what would it happen now if it was done? Would it be classed as a white supremacist Nazi rally?
I mean, it would be easy to apply that mimetic, yeah.
Why would it be easy? And why is it not easy to do the reverse?
Oh.
Apart from the white supremacists, obviously.
Oh, because
I
people
can
are
answer that.
Gone.
Because black people can't be racist, only whitey can be racist.
I mean, I disagree with that.
Good.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, there's nuance, and that is a big word. I like that word. But well, here's the thing, dude. It depends on. That's why as soon as we start to go all these race things and this and that, and this is why the words of one of the smartest dudes I ever met over at the Harvard Club, when they were having their little yearly symposium thing, guy worked on the Human Genome Project. And of course, I like to ask all the speakers questions either during or at the end. So at the end, I went up to him like, I think it was a doctor or professor. So doctor, what are the top 2 things we can do to save the world? Number 1, we need to get everybody to do their whole full genetic profile so we can amass that metadata so we'll literally understand humanity, and then we can actually help do stuff and things. The second thing was climate change. So, and I'm sure he was eager to speak to the lovely young lady behind me and get me out of his face. So,
Sure. But I still think in general that if we're going to try and classify, and I know that you're not, and I know that you're kind of being jovial in your remarks anyway, but it is a point that should probably be made that if it's going to be made in one aspect for one particular race or color, and then it not happen, and then to point out that if it was the reverse, then the outcry for certain groups of people would be to the point of almost condemning it as a point of genocide, and I do use that hyperbolically, not as a literal term. Shouldn't we be pointing out that sort of form of hypocrisy on both sides?
yeah, that's fair. It's just when you factor that in, of course, you have to be fair because, again, the prerequisite for political stability is social justice, for the nature of things that injustice will not endure. That's why it needs to be fair. What happens is a lot of times, if folks see the injustice the other way, they're like, well, there is a historical context, so that's occupying a very large weighted part in their minds. I believe, like you were kind of saying, CSG, if you look at this more from just like an old school Mad Libs perspective, if you simply remove one word or noun or equivalent thing and you replace it with something that is of the equivalent but is going to, at least in somebody's mind, change the context, if your answer changes, then it doesn't seem like we're being fair. It's like all of a sudden, it's like Donald Trump sells 20% of the United States reserves of uranium to Russia. People might make a big deal about that. If you replace Donald Trump with, let's say, like Secretary Clinton or something like that, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's an article here or there. It was a thing, but there's
definitely was.
nothing about it. So
No, I completely agree. I mean, I just wanted to use the story because I found the idea of Sky News reporting on it, first of all, absolutely shocked me that they would actually report on it. But then, more importantly, that they didn't do an editorial piece, or rather an opinion piece, to try and suggest why this was a bad thing or a good thing in the first place. Where on other stories of similar ilk, they had done. All they'd done is given the facts and left it as is, and they didn't editorialize in the story at all. I just found it very interesting that if people were to point certain aspects of what we've just pointed out, that if you want to be treated as equal, then you should probably pay equally and go through that aspect and whatnot.
I have a 4-letter comment, and all I'm going to preface with this is post the Andy No situation, quote unquote, is the jig up.
It's a possibility, but I think it's more of a case of it was a story that's been publicized quite a lot, especially going around Twitter. And it's one of those stories that kind of needs to be addressed, but just to be addressed and not talked about.
Oh, well, I mean, that sounds like news.
Yes, and I understand where you're going with that, but it seems that the news channels themselves don't actually do news. They actually do news with editorializations or opinion pieces with it.
Oh, it's news entertainment. It's like pro wrestling. It went from a sport to sports entertainment. News has gone from news to news entertainment because, like,
I agree.
ratings and clicks and cash and.
No, I agree, Memes. I mean, literally, I'm doing exactly the same thing as I'm saying other people are doing. I can quite easily see the correlation between me and, say, CNN. Obviously, there is a hell of a lot of a difference overall, but the situation and the contexts are pretty similar. I'm giving you stories and giving editorializations over the top of them.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag capitalism.
Not so for too much longer, because we won't be able to even use Hangouts after the 1st of August.
Oh, if only there was a free market solution available, would you guys use it?
I already am on one BitChute.
Oh, no, I was saying something like this, just very rudimentary audio, visual ability to show screen. Would you pay like $5 a month for access? Something that would also automatically go to your YouTubes, automatically go to your whatevers.
I already
Basically a
have
streaming
OBS.
tweet.
I already
Okay.
have OBS, so I don't need to pay for anything.
Okay. What if it was just convenience wise? I realize I have OBS too, but then you got to pay attention to stuff and things.
Yeah, stuff and things is not too much harder, but it's just
Okay.
a case of the bandwidth for me.
Just curious.
No, I do understand where you're going with it. It's just a case of, for me, I could quite easily use something like having Skype or Zoom onto it, which would be very, very similar, and then transfer to a news story or an article on OBS.
Right. No, I'm just doing a fair bit, just tiny bit of market research, and thank you for letting me platform and ask this question because I may have noticed like market gap or potential market gap. So hashtag capitalism.
If you get it done, then you obviously have to give a free trial to your friends.
Oh, well, we need market testing, and we already have. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
On with the news.
I'll be an alpha tester. Yeah, on with the news, as you quite rightly say. So, I would like to go on to a story that is quite, should we say, big in the UK at this minute in time, which I think is probably a good thing, which is to do with a girl that was unfortunately murdered and her mother that was pushing for a particular thing. And this is called Helen's Law. And first of all, I suppose before we go through the actual story, I'd like to preface this with a quick question for everybody. If we were to suggest that murderers and just murderers weren't able to have a parole hearing or parole, should we say rollout as an easier word, because they didn't give the locations of their victims, their bodies, so to speak. Would we be happy with them not having a parole because of the idea of them maybe not being remorseful enough to give up the locations of victims' bodies?
I have no idea how it is over in the UK. I know here in the US, at least very often, as my general observation, that's usually a major contributing factor in anyone who has taken another person's life and has not disclosed said location. That usually seems to be a condition of their parole or a major factor in there. MC, if he's still around, could correct me, but I don't often hear about folks getting out unless they at least try to point officers into the right direction. Because if it's a crime they've already been convicted of, I don't know.
I mean, this law is very, very specific to the point of, in the UK at least, that you don't have to give the locations of your victims to be able to have a parole hearing. You may not get parole, but this is to even have a parole hearing for Americans.
Now, is this, and it actually ain't Jack, just to push back on him a little bit, he says, why are murderers even allowed out of jail alive ever? Okay, that's
Probably
very
best not to
harsh.
address. Probably
No,
not best to
but
address.
but my question is, it says denies killers parole. I would say that there is technically, at least in a legal definition, a difference between murder. Murder assumes that you decided, I am going to kill somebody. Somebody, as unfortunate as it is, may not mean to take someone's life, but may end up taking somebody's life. So, again, I realize that's semantics coming from a Semite, but it is what it is.
Well, to be fair, I'd even go any deeper as well. Do you believe in the idea of any sort of retribution or paying back your societal crimes?
To be fair, I CSG, I completely disproved what I said in my statement, because if I highlight Semite, if you go back to the commandments, it says thou shalt not kill.
I understand. I wasn't addressing your point.
Oh, okay.
You're not the most important thing here.
Good.
No, that's me.
To be fair, that is true. And if B was here, she would be the most important person here. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, I was addressing Ain't Jank's point, which why are murders even allowed out of jail alive ever? Because if you believe in the idea of retribution, then it would be a case of you would be able to serve your time. And if you're able to serve your time and actually have remorse for the crime that you've done, then you should be able to come out. It's the same thing if you did a robbery. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, back to the actual story. Do we think that this is a good idea? Because I know that I spoke to you, Jensen Quinn, about it before, but I can't remember your actual take on it.
I actually think that if the people are hoping to get parole, then they should be willing to hand over the information as to where the bodies are kept. Because after all, the trauma that the family is feeling, not being able to, put to rest their family members, that shows that the people that committed said crime, I'm going to be blunt here, don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, if they can be defined as not giving a shit, then they don't deserve parole, in my opinion.
No, I can basically completely and utterly concur with your opinion on that. For me, it goes to the point of, if somebody's not going to give you a location of a victim, then are they actually remorseful for the crime that they are doing? Which then negates my previous comment of the actual remorse and repentment. Or, yeah. Because if you're not remorseful, then you still need to sort your time out and do your time, don't you? Rather than just having a chance of having early parole.
I mean, that's definitely not an unfair assessment by any means, and that's not it to release a person. And again, I'm not sure how the law is set up, but that doesn't seem like an unreasonable thing. That it's like, all right, you want to get out, you need to give these families whom you hurt, took away a loved one, you need to give them some peace.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I better actually address Ancient's comment in the actual chat. That way it's easier than rather than trying to type everything out. Am I saying that murderer's life is worth more than the lives of the victims? Of course I'm not. Of course I'm not even trying to suggest that life equals another life. I'm not even trying to suggest that one life is worth more or worth less. I'm saying that if an action has been committed, in other words, murder, and it comes to a point of time that's been served that we have decided as a society that that person should be serving, and in that instance, if there is remorse done and portrayed by the person who has committed the murder to the point of being able to provide the locations of the bodies and admitting it and everything else like that, then I do believe in the idea of being able to give that person a second chance. Otherwise, you are suggesting that one single action, regardless of how light or how heavy it is, completely and utterly controls you for the rest of your life. I don't believe in that.
Well, that's the thing, dude. I'll be straight up. I've grown up with different friends and stuff, and some of them unfortunately have inadvertently taken other people's lives. If it's in a motor vehicle accident or something, and you know what? That's one of the freaking probably the absolute worst point of that person's life. The other person is no longer with us, but that person that is still with us, especially if it was an accident, they need to live with that for the rest of their lives. And if they have put in their debt to society and done everything they can to make amends, we need to decide, what is the justice system? Are we doing it to try to correct people, or are we trying to just simply gain retribution upon them? Sometimes it may be a little bit of both, but that's something that we seem to lose.
I mean, I can see that this is actually a contentious subject in the chat. You have a lot of people asking a lot of different questions. I mean, I'm not the one that's trying to defend this whole as an idea. I just think that the law in itself is a good law to have, which is if you are going to go to a parole hearing, but you haven't given up the locations of anybody's to quote MC's question or to address MC's question, and you haven't given up anything or anybody or anything or sort of shown any remorse, then why should you have a parole hearing in the first place? That's all that I'm saying. I think the law in itself addresses aspects of our criminal justice system which can be taken advantage of. And I just think that that advantage should be taken away from the killers or murderers, to be pedantic.
I think I'm going to have to like subscribe to the MC Wikipedia, because I'm learning all different types of new definitions over the past new days.
Okay, so
well, no, the purpose of the justice system, he's correcting me in saying it is neither. The purpose is to isolate threats to society. Is that the purpose of the justice system? I don't know.
I disagree.
I mean, that
with
makes sense. I don't actively
I
hear it.
disagree. No, I disagree. The idea of the justice system in itself is supposed to be the capture and I suppose isolation to the threats of society, but there is a caveat into that as well, which is the idea of trying to rehabilitate as well.
Well, the isolation is the time spent in jail. It's just while they are there, what are we doing? We just letting them pay their debt to society and be like, all right, off you go. You haven't worked in 20 years. You don't have any updated skills or anything, but have at you now. It's not like that would contribute to a high recidivism rate or something. I'm sorry, I'm venting.
No, you're fine. I mean, I'm confused by Jack's point there. Not the pedo side. I can kind of agree with that at least halfly. I can at least agree with that in principle. Maybe not in implementation.
We're arguing over how to grow fruit. It can be very different depending on the type of fruit.
Not particularly, because I'm really interested in the last idea, which is that murderers are a lost cause and irredeemable. Does that mean the same aspect for people that have fought in wars then? Because you could argue people that have killed civilians in wars are technically murderers. Are they irredeemable?
They're working under an operational structure at war.
I understand.
Well, that's also a differentiation between, I would say, between taking another's life and actually planning to just end somebody in any form of a civilian capacity.
Okay, now you're in the heat of the moment and you've just found your wife, or in your case, 3 or 4 girlfriends cheating on you all at the same time, and then you've decided to kill the person that you were with. You've now become a murderer. Are you irredeemable?
I mean, your situation there almost sounded a little kinky. I think you initially had me at maybe at the start. I mean, it's still the law. I mean, I'm not in a war zone. I don't know. Is
Yeah,
a
but I'm not
bedroom a war
asking if
zone?
it's the
Actually,
law.
to be fair, for some people, bedroom
Me-
might be a war zone.
I'm not asking you for the law. I'm asking if what you have done is irredeemable and
What'd I
you're
do?
a lost cause.
Wait, what?
Ain't Jack's question at the end, which I was trying to get through to you, was you get rid of pedos and murderers, they are lost causes and are irredeemable. Now, I agree with the pedos aspect in principle, maybe not in implementation, but in principle. But with murderers, are they completely irredeemable? Are there situations where they are not lost causes? Are there situations where they are not irredeemable?
I mean, are there people that have murdered another person that have gone on after they've paid their debt to society based upon their judgment that have done good things? Maybe.
So you would say that even if you had the instance of saying that you've killed somebody by dangerous driving, for instance, technically that would be classed as a murder, technically.
It could be.
And then going on to saying, doing exactly what I suggested that you could have done with ex Mrs. Memes or ex Mrs. Memes and having her cheat on you and you killing both of them. Would you then be completely irredeemable because you've done it twice? Does the amount of the time mean that you're irredeemable, or is it the situation and the characteristics of the person in that situation that makes you irredeemable or deemable?
Is that a dragon pinata right there? Because are we working under the assumptions that upon me witnessing that act, I would murder both individuals?
Well, no, I was just suggesting a situation.
Oh, I'm entertaining an idea of murdering people. Okay, thank you.
No, I was saying that you could have murdered one, you could have murdered both of them. I was giving you a hypothetical in where you have killed more than once.
Oh,
Are you
well,
then irredeemable because you have killed more than once?
I don't know if I have ended another person's existence.
Of course you haven't, as far as we're aware, but the hypothetical doesn't state that you have, it states that you could have done.
But you're assuming then I did.
Anyway, let's just move on.
Okay. Oh! Before we finish, before I tweeted this out, I wanted to share with everybody that wait, no, that's the wrong thing. No, hold on. I swear I can do stuff and things. There we go.
Are you sure?
Boom. Yeah, I have 1,666 tweets, and now I'm tweeting out your thingamajigger. So now we're going to go up. Yay! I don't know. I thought that was cool. Okay, moving right along.
What's my thingamajigger?
Oh, what?
What's my
The show, I'm hoping.
Oh, I was tweeting out a link to the show.
Yay.
Yay!
I was promoting
friends and people.
stuff and things.
I'd just like to point out Loaf of Sheffield has come up with an absolutely outstanding statement.
I saw.
If I found someone shagging my missus, I'd give him a medal first, feed his Labrador dog, call him a cab, and find him a white stick.
Yeah.
What a wonderful man he is.
That is the most gentlemanly cuckoldish thing you could do.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Touche, good sir.
Yeah. Should we move on to the triggering of Jensen?
Oh.
Yes. Let's initiate triggering.
I can go into a guess as well that this is going to trigger the chat as well, because I'm pretty sure that I have an opinion that most of them are not going to like. But we shall get there. So, not my Ariel. White Traitor is a big mad about Disney casting a Black Little Mermaid. Apparently, it's been corrected because it's the root. So I don't think we really need to go into the story itself and read what they have written. I think we can gauge what's going on here. Basically, Disney has decided that it's going to change the red-haired white girl of mermaid to a black redhead of mermaid. I'm going to pass it off to you two first, and trigger warning to Jensen Quinn. The views expressed on the Common Sense Guys channel may not necessarily be the views that are beholden to the Common Sense Guys channel. Please go ahead, Jensen.
Okay, how the fuck is this considered acceptable to blackwash a redhead? I mean, they have deliberately and maliciously gone straight up and blackwashed somebody. If a white person did this to a black person, there would be absolute freaking riots. Personally, I think that we should do an all-white version of Roots and see how they feel about that. If they have a problem with it, I believe the technical term is "come suck my balls, you asswipes." All yours, memes.
Yep, I think that was a very detailed, in-depth rebuttal to the actual story, and I think that you did very well.
Thank you. And that was
Okay.
me actually withholding some of my opinions.
I agree, and I thank you for it.
Not a problem, sir.
So
Right,
I
counter me, memes.
now I'm slightly confused because I was going to come out slightly raging about that. Is this the end of us gingers?
Yes.
Or because like they keep on seeming to take the redheads out of different movies and stuff. But did you say she was still going to have red hair?
I don't
Yes,
know.
that
I was
is-
assuming.
Oh, if she has red hair. I don't really care. I mean, I pretty much lose any real objection that I would have because I mean it's just the seemingly targeting of us of us gingers. I mean, realistically, as long as I do it well, I don't really care. And to be fair, if we're going to access historical precedent, we still got the Googles. So let's go to the Googles because I actually looked this up last night. So because I was
already
kind of
knew.
curious.
I already knew. Blonde-haired
So,
Swedish girl.
okay, well that's fine. So here we have Ariel. So okay, you see, there's a very shiny golden plankton or something there. She has quite fair skin. However, let's go to the screen cap here. She looks like she might have a little bit more melanin in her skin. And depending on where you go, I mean, even with these young ladies here, I mean, that doesn't necessarily look like you have never gotten any sun before. That's all I'm saying, man. I really don't care as long as they make good movies. That's all.
I mean,
And I like redheads.
yeah,
Sorry.
I have a fetish towards them, so yay. But
I
anyway,
hear ya.
the actual point that I was going to make was the fact that the actual characteristics that Disney actually did for the beginning of the story were actually different anyway. They were supposed to be a blonde Swedish girl that was supposed to be the identity of Ariel, how the Brothers Grimm actually wrote the story to begin with. So, with that in mind, then Disney already changed the character before to what they had done, and they actually changed the story, believe it or not, quite a bit. It was supposed to be the reverse way round. But regardless, I don't actually really care that much about the fact that she's going to be black. I don't really care that much. I don't think it's done for the aspect of it being blackwashing. I think it's more of a case for me. I think it's more of a case that she, or should I say Disney in general, has noticed that there is a financial trend that is going on, which if you put black characters into specific stories and put them as protagonists or leads, then people of all colors of a particular political persuasion are going to watch it and give you money regardless.
Wait, and this is ultimately, I mean, I don't even know if it's that. Is that a factor? Sure, but let's face it, they're taking established intellectual property and they're just making it into live action films. So rather than have to take the risk on a new idea that might not make money, they're going to do an idea that they know there's going to be a certain amount of folks that watched it when they were kids. They're going to want to bring their kids, so they know they're going to have a certain amount of folks seeing it anyway. And then you're going to have folks that are like, oh, this is great. This is great. They love the concept and everything, and they're going to watch it. And then I think you were just saying that there are going to be a number of folks as well that might show a certain bit of pushback, maybe outrage, if you will, over something. And guess what? A lot of these folks see it anyway, so they can bash on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems to be going of two ways. I mean, I understand people's opinions. I can read the chat. I can see what's going on in that aspect. But I really don't think that there's a big, massive conspiracy to get rid of whack characters. I don't see it. I see it more as a marketing ploy. I don't see it as an underhanded conspiracy theory to go out of their way to get rid of white characters. I see it as they have seen the way that the political and economical climate is at this minute in time. It's the reason why so many companies are on the Pride bandwagon. They may not necessarily agree with Pride for the rest of the year, but why it's on, they're going to put their flags up and they're going to produce the products. And I see this is exactly the same aspect, that they've seen that it is a case of them being able to make money for the same shows, the same TV shows, the same movies, same characteristics, and just changing one aspect gives them a whole new story, apparently. So that makes them more money for a different movie.
But isn't Disney a publicly traded company that owes a fiduciary duty to its stockholders to maximize its revenue? And
Yeah,
excuse me,
which
profits. Definitions matter.
is exactly. But if you listen to what I said, then that's what they're trying to do, because they don't actually have a story that they're willing to take the risks on. But they know that if they produce a story that is My Little Mermaid, which 2 to 3 generations may or may not have watched, and change the character to a black character, then they have a whole new story for a whole new generation, and it's a whole new world, to quote Aladdin.
CSG, no, you just hit the nail on the head of the next big Disney movie. My Little Mermaid. We're going to combine My Little Pony and The Little Mermaid. Boom. Bronies under the sea, man. We got it.
Yeah, I would have said jabronis
Ow.
under the sea, but fair enough.
No. The Rock's busy doing other stuff and things.
Actually, as
fair.
we're discussing Disney, I'm assuming you've heard about Disney and the Spider-Man incident.
I have, yes. I personally I wanted to do it as its own video, but we can touch on it if you want to.
No. If you want to do it as his own video, I will withdraw it here. But,
Jensen, do you have a timer so we can scream for like 5 minutes?
I can keep an eye on the time. Yes.
That's all, because I was gonna. That's literally when I was just popping onto Discord earlier. I'm like, oh, I need to make a video, and then I'm like, oh, CSG is live. So yeah, this is bullshit.
Yep, completely and
Utterly.
utterly agree. Yep, completely and utterly agree.
They may have the legal right, but it's just why? Because didn't they let also was it Tony Stark or something, like an Iron Man? Didn't they do the same thing? It's like,
Yes,
listen,
they stopped it, yeah.
this just to me sounds like somebody got the notice, they didn't have the ability. But this is one of those human aspect things. But if you look at this, a little kid passed away. I understand you sent something. That's great, but you couldn't have emailed your boss or gone up the chain to just have somebody that's like, oh yeah. Because because guess what? Now Disney looks like the evil, big, money grubby corporation.
It is.
Versus like the benevolent company that's like, we are here to celebrate. And even if that's just a virtue signal, even if you're just doing it so you can say that, at least you're giving peace of mind to folks that just lost their kiddo.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And the thing that really fucking annoys me a hell of a lot about, I just lost monetization, never mind. The thing that really annoys me about that fucking incident is the reasoning behind the fact of what Disney gave as their answer. Oh, it will lose the magic of the fucking character. Are you fucking kidding me? The whole process of the idea of Spider-Man is to help the downtrodden, even more so than the ideas and icons of Superman and Batman and all the rest of it. Spider-Man's actual point is to go around and help the kids of the neighborhood, hence why he is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You are trying to say that you are taking the magic away from it, when in actual fact, Spider-Man him fucking self would have gone around and done it for fucking free.
So now, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but doesn't Disney have some intellectual property? The whole Night Before Christmas, or something like that.
I
The
believe so,
Ebenezer
yeah,
Scrooge
Jack.
story.
Yeah.
Isn't that a Disney-based production that touches upon death? Has his gravestones that literally have character names on it. Yeah, isn't that a thing? Didn't they profit off of that?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But I think for them to play more of a devil's advocate fucking cunt is the case of it's going on to a live person's headstone. And it's going to be a centerpiece towards it. So it's now, apparently, according to them, losing the magic and the mystery of the character because it's now been put onto a headstone and is the centerpiece of a headstone. Now, I fucking disagree with that, by the way, before anybody tries to jump, not in the thing, because I'm sure people know, but in general, before anybody tries to jump on me, I completely disagree with that aspect, but I think that's where they're going with it.
So if I'm willing to shell out like $1 million, I can use Spider-Man's likeness to market Doritos, but I can't put it on my brother's passed away son's headstone.
Yes, because you're trying to use common sense, no pun intended.
What the hell is more magical than children?
Exactly.
I
The whole
completely
premise of
agree,
what,
mate.
yeah, which is the whole premise of what Walt Disney was trying to do in the fucking first place. The magic wasn't the characters. The magic was watching the children enjoy the characters.
Disney is made for kids. If the adults have a good time as well as a consequence, I mean, that's just an added bonus, but it's primarily geared towards kiddos. I'm not going to lie. I had a great time when I was there last time.
For Cinematic in the chat, I did say in a video that I'm leaving the political analysis. I still said I was going to do social commentary.
Oh, we'll have you back soon enough. You just need a break.
No, I'm not coming ever back to do fucking politics. I'll do social commentary and I'll do stuff like this all the time, but I'm not going into the idea of debating ideas and debating the different aspects of things like that. I'll have conversations, sure, but I'm not going ever back into politics again. I just don't see the point. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, it doesn't change a fucking thing.
Tallest mountain started as a stone.
Yeah, and there's always a single ripple that will eventually go to the edge of the river, the edge of the pond. But that doesn't mean that every ripple always will do.
A lot of raindrops cause a lot of ripples.
They do, but if you have one single one and nobody, anyway, whatever.
I'm sorry.
Back to the actual point of the poor child that's not allowed to have his literal idol on his fucking headstone.
Just to warn you, we are at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah,
As
we can carry on
requested.
if we really want to. I'm now quite happy going into it.
Okay, cool. I've not got a problem, mate. I was asked to keep an eye on the time for 5 minutes, so I have.
I know.
But yes, I'm going to give my opinion now. I'm even going to try and keep this as calm as possible. Disney are an utterly reproachable bunch of wastes of DNA. This is exactly what Stan Lee would be spinning in his grave over. I mean, I didn't know Stan Lee in person, obviously, but based on things I'd seen about him, he would, without even the slightest problem, have given permission for Spider-Man or pretty much any of the superheroes to be used on a child's grave if that was what the family wanted. The fact that this company has decided, no, I truly hope that their bottom line gets seriously affected by this. And, well, simply put, I'm not going to have anything to do with their movies, or at least I'm not going to pay to have anything to do with their movies anymore.
The views expressed on this channel may not necessarily be the views expressed by the Common Sense Guy. As in, I will not endorse the idea of bootlegging anybody's intellectual property. Please do not demonetize me.
I have not suggested that that happened. I'm pointing out I am not going to pay to watch any of their things anymore.
I
I
thought
would
we
like
were
that
already
noted.
demonetized.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, fuck it.
Oh, you're welcome.
I do find that the idea of the intellectual properties not being able to be used for the idea of putting them onto a child's headstone. By the way, for people that are listening to this as well, it wasn't the case that they decided that they just wanted to use it and they weren't going to pay any sort of, should we say, money for the use of it. They were going to pay for the use of it. They were going to pay for it. But Disney said that it wasn't allowed to happen because of the magic being taken away from the character.
The headstone was already, people had already bought, paid
Yep.
for the design. They were ready to go. They just needed permission to utilize the likeness.
Yep. And again, as I said, they were going to pay for the likeness in itself as well. That was the whole point of the lawsuit happening.
Well, this brings up another thing because Jensen was bringing up Stan Lee, and I'll be straight up. If Stan Lee was still with us, I'm pretty sure he would have fought hard for that to happen. Unfortunately, Stan Lee, he was a writer and an artist for Marvel. He doesn't, he nor his family, as far as I know, actually owned the intellectual property rights to.
Yeah, Stanley owned
Spider-Man.
every single intellectual property right. That's why Disney had to buy him out after he died.
Okay. See, it was explained to me different the other night on Exiled Opinions because I kind of thought at least he was a creator. I wasn't sure, but you did research on that, so.
Yeah, he's always had the intellectual property.
No. He was the creator, but he wasn't the owner.
As far as I'm aware, he was the owner of almost all of his characters. I think
He
there was 2
created
or
them,
3.
but while he was working at Marvel, so he was an employee of Marvel that created their characters.
No, that was somebody else who then left, and that's when that was about the Fantastic Four.
Oh, you sure?
I'm pretty sure, but then again, I'm not too up on comic books.
I
know
mean,
that he
regardless, that's yeah. I'm sorry, I'm doing semantics again.
I know that he did own the intellectual properties for Spider-Man. It was one of his most favorite characters, that and the Hulk.
I like those characters too, and Wolverine.
Yeah, but either way, I do think that Stan Lee would have fought hard, regardless of if he did have the intellectual property or didn't have the intellectual property. He would have put his weight into the proverbial ring, so to speak.
Oh, one tweet, this shit would be done.
Yeah, I agree. The outrage would have been immense. There is no rage stronger than nerd rage.
Yes.
Oh God, yes.
Well, hold on a second. Isn't Stan Lee's Twitter still active?
Yes, it's being controlled by Disney. Don't go there.
It's tweeting out.
Don't go there. It's
movies.
Please
but
don't.
it can
Please don't go there. Please don't go there. Just let it go. It just proves the fact that Disney are a heartless fucking corporation. Just
let it
let it go.
Let it go.
Don't do the song. No. Fucking hate that song because it always gets stuck in my head.
It's such a good song. I have to watch it.
Remind
on a
me to
non-Disney
send you
channel.
the heavy metal version of it later, CSG.
Yay.
I think you'll actually like it. It's an interesting version when you hear it done with heavy metal.
Fair enough. Are we ready to move on, or do we have any other venting that needs to be done?
No, I'm willing to move on. I just wanted to make the point that Disney are scum.
Yes.
And personally, I truly hope that their company collapses, that their shareholders fall into a fiery pit of hell and burn for a very, very long time and yet don't die.
And obviously you meant that proverbially. You didn't mean that literally.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, CSG, are you a registered Jedi?
No, I am not.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you were a registered Jedi, would that not entitle you to a seat on the Jedi Council to vote for Disney matters?
It's probably.
Okay, just fill out your census.
Yeah. Right. So, education. Let's just do that. So, another story from Sky News, which was I watched this and I'll be honest, I was quite incensed by it, to be fair. But let's just read the story and find out what more of the story is. So, Labour MP Jess Phillip leaves her son at number 10 in protest over school shutting early on Fridays. So, an MP demonstrating against schools being forced to close early over a lack of funds has dropped her child off at number 10 in protest. Jess Phillips, the MP of Birmingham Yardley, has joined hundreds of parents, teachers, and children in Parliament Square to highlight that some English schools, are reportedly unable to afford to educate pupils for a full 5 days, which I believe in this day and age, this current year, I think is absolutely ridiculous. But let's carry on for the moment. The primary school, attended by Miss Phillips' 10-year-old son Danny, is one of the estimated 250 schools cutting the school week short after Friday mornings, or at least considering it. I have a correlation for this, which I will bring up at the end, but let's carry on for the moment. It's not just about my son, it's about thousands of children across the country, she said. Danny, his best friend Morris, and two other children were dropped off by the MP on the front step of 10 Downing Street, where they completed some schoolwork to symbolise the government's responsibility to educate the nation's children on a Friday afternoon. Speaking outside of the Prime Minister's residence, she told Sky News, "Today, like every Friday afternoon from now on, my son will no longer be able to go to school because austerity measures over years and years have degraded school budgets." Ahead of the protest, she told Sky News, "I'm going to sit him on the front of the Downing Street steps and he's going to do some homework there because it's their responsibility to be looking after and educating our children for 5 days a week." Miss Phillips, who was leading the Save Our Schools march, said, "This is about the principle that the average person on the street thinks children should go to school 5 days a week. The average person thinks there are basic minimum standards in our public schools and we are currently degrading them. If we do not talk about it, we will never get that back. We will start to accept that some schools, largely in poorer areas, don't get as much schooling." Ms. Phillips says the government needs to plough 3 billion into schools to fix the problem, plus 1.2 million a year to keep schools afloat. The Labour MP said her son's school has already had to increase the number of students in each class, cut teaching staff, sports facilities, and pastoral care. She said, "They have cut back on absolutely everything and have been left with nothing in the government's responsibility. It's all to do with funding." Now, I don't really need to go on too much more. We kind of get the idea that Jess Phillip is saying not that the government should be looking after the children so much, but is actually saying that the schools themselves should be run at 5 days a week. And if we have a social program for schooling, then it should be funded equally and not separately. So I think we can kind of agree with that aspect, apart from maybe the if the school should be socialized or not. But that's a different topic for a different story. Though there is a correlation that I would like to point out with this before we go into everything. Jess Phillip is one of those MPs that wants a 4 or 3 day working week. What's the difference?
What?
Interesting.
So I just wanted to put that forward. But so what do you guys think about what we've been able to talk about at this minute in time?
Well,
I mean,
assuming that
go on, Jensen.
you go first, Memes. Go on.
I'm not gonna lie. You really shouldn't be leaving your kid alone. I mean, the mimetic takeaway, just to have the picture, it's like, well, I'm gonna let. I'm sure that he wasn't actually unsupervised. I mean, at least I would pray that that wasn't the case. But that's a meme of destruction to Downing Street right there. It's like, all right, you due to austerity measures, yeah, we can't send Donnie to school 5 days a week. So he's just gonna sit out in front of 10 Downing Street, just kind of chilling there. Dude, I'm not gonna dude, it's one of those things. Growing up, I still remember like being in like the third grade. It's like, all right, we got like 18, maybe 20 kids in the class. And then I goes through middle school. All right, we got like 23 kids in the class. And then as I'm finishing high school, it's like, yeah, we got like 31, 32 kids a class. And I'm like, all right, over my entire education within the public school system, I've watched as class size has steadily increased. I realize MC will always harp on the teachers, the teachers, the teachers. Maybe I don't know. I may or may not have dated a teacher at one point. She may or may not have been an actual union member trying to fight for stuff. It's that in and of itself is more of a bureaucratic issue as far as efficiency goes. But dude, I've noticed there always seems to be cuts to education. Even here up in Massachusetts, man, things come up on the chopping block and always seems like, oh, where did we cut? Education. Huh. Funny. Funny how that seems to work. It's like we're cutting money from primary constituency that they can't vote. I don't know. Just my observation.
I mean, I believe Flo for Sheffield, though I'm not looking at the chat at this minute in time. No, it was RPR, sorry.
RPR.
Yep. RPR says that Jess Phillips' kids are at private school. I can't find if they are or if they're not, though I assume that she would have actually have hidden that information regardless of this story anyway. So if you could show me if that is true, then that would completely and utterly change my position on this story. But for the moment, I'm going to stick with the way that I've already come up with pre my pre-understanding of this story, which is if that she is and has her children in public school and they are being defunded as she says that they are, which may or may not be true either, then I have to be on Jess Phillips's side here, regardless of my political allegiances in general, because what happens to her children would potentially happen to mine, which means that they wouldn't be able to get an education, at least enough to be able to progress in the world that we live in. Maybe some people would say, well, you don't need to go to school to get educated. I agree, you don't. But if you want to get the qualifications to be able to work in society, then you need to go to school and get those qualifications and those pieces of paper, regardless of if you believe in that or not. It kind of is a prerequisite to be able to get a job. So for me, I'm kind of with her on this one. I mean, I don't agree with necessarily leaving her child in front of 10 Downing Street if she ever did do that, which didn't look like she did. I think it was done as a photo op more than anything. But then again, she could have done. I'm not saying that she has done this or hasn't. But overall, I'm actually with her on this one. I have to take my biases out of this and look at what it means for the actual children in general. I have to agree with her, though. What do you think on that, Jensen?
Well, the basic idea of her argument is reasonable, except for the fact that she's calling for 3-day working week, as you've already said earlier.
Hmm.
At which point, this completely annuls her argument about children going to school for 5 days. Because after all, a 3-day working week would also apply to the teachers. So suddenly, they're only working 3 days. I mean, that is her argument.
Oh, that mathematically doesn't align. Oh, that's very interesting. See, my argument against that in a tangential aspect would be, okay, can you educate kids the same amount with so many less hours?
I suppose there's a retort to that of going, well, if you have the 3 days as in the curriculum as being taught by the children, you could have 2 days of being taught external curriculum activities, as in going outside and going to museums and stuff like that. So you could actually learn, I don't know, how to fit a car, how to do mechanics, how to have that sort of ideas. So there are options that you could have for the 2 extra days separate.
You sound like you're describing a lot of people's Marxist utopias.
No, I'm just saying that it could be done. I'm not saying I agree with it. I don't agree with it. I'm just saying that the argument that you're going with, there is a case where the parents could teach the children aspects like plumbing or aspects of electricians or aspects of something that they could use as a trade.
No, apprenticeship is a great idea. I'm just not sure how the UK has things legally set up. I know over here you can do stuff like that because actually, one of the gentlemen I work with, his kids right now, he's homeschooling his kids. But what we found out is in New Hampshire, or at least where he has his residence, he can actually enroll his kids into some of the public school classes. So, like if there's like a science lab or something, they can actually go to that as well as still do after school activities and stuff. So they're still getting that social aspect.
Sure. But I think your argument is more of a case of, well, if you can only be educated for the 3 days a week or 4 days a week, then that's not the equivalent of only working for the 3 to 4 days a week.
Well, it also depends because, like, let's face it, not everybody's going to be like Sharadi or Tema, where they actually are good at or have the aptitude to actually teach their kids at home. Not everybody might be in that same situation.
All the time. But the aspect was, could they do it? Not will they do it?
Well, I mean, then you get into the argument of, well, what are the qualifications versus somebody that's actually gone to school for education versus just somebody that you're not necessarily sure the background. But then again, at the same time, they know their kids better than most anyone else because you're going to be exposed to them more. And that's why I'm not saying what you were suggesting was a bad idea at all. I'm just saying from like a legal framework, I have no idea what the UK laws are.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just saying that in general, I think the idea of the argument that you're going down, and I think with the idea of as well the way that Jensen Quinn is going down as well is kind of a factitious argument. Let's go with that. For a false argument, which is it's a false equivalency. You can't compare going to work to being educated.
Can we?
No, because it's a case for me that you take longer to be able to be educated. You can work for how many days a week that you want to work. You can work 7 days a week if you want to. You can also work 1 day a week.
Does the UK have an education-based program for kids?
Yes, which is what I just said. It's not the same thing as equating the working to
Does
the
the
lessons.
UK offer job-based programs for adults?
No, they give you dole money.
It doesn't. It doesn't have programs where it helps find you jobs if you're capable of doing them.
Not
So I'm pretty
particularly.
sure
that is actually the job centre's primary mission.
But it doesn't do it.
Though, no, it doesn't. I completely agree with you there. But
I never said it worked well.
No, it doesn't work
Oh
at
no,
all.
yeah, that's the point. Means it's not a case of working well or not. The system itself has utterly failed those that are job searching.
Why?
Because all they care about is, have you filled out your job seeker form? If yes, sign here and bugger off. If no, you lose access to your money for this 2-week period. Sign here and bugger off.
Pretty much.
So the incentives are not optimized.
No, it's not a case of that.
That's
That's just one aspect. It's more of a case as well that if you were to get part-time work, you'd be kicked off of the universal credit. You would also have a chance of not necessarily, if you were to reject an interview, for instance, that they may have found you, which could be something like I don't know, working in a sewer, for instance, which is not for everybody. If you reject that interview, then you will lose all of the money.
So they're incentivizing people to stay on the government dole because if they
Yes.
happen to take a job, and I'm just basing this off of my experience when I was on unemployment. It's like I was offered a job. I calculated my travel, my fuel, and everything, and approximately how much I would be making. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm going to be losing money taking this job. Huh.
Yep. Same thing in this country. Probably slightly worse.
They haven't thought about maybe, I don't know, like weaning people off of that universal credit. So I don't know, maybe someone could save up and maybe get an apartment, maybe get a vehicle, so maybe they could get a better job or actually working their way up and pulling themselves up.
That would imply that they actually care about the people that are actually using the service. The best thing that would be provided for that service is a form of training. They don't even give you the training.
Has
used
nobody
to.
brought this up? What?
Yes.
Yes, loads of people have done, but it's to do with either the Labour government that doesn't care, or when the Conservatives are in power that just don't care.
But aren't they your elected representatives?
Do
Yes.
elected representatives actually help the people they represent, or do they help themselves?
Is it? But aren't isn't that what they're supposed to do? I mean, like, if the folk, dude, if the chief executives and on the board of directors of major, like, publicly traded companies, if they have a fiduciary duty to maximize the profit to their shareholders, do our elected representatives not have a fiduciary responsibility to, like, the citizens?
No, because guess what? They can be either re-elected or not re-elected, but they have a term to sit, and as long as that they don't do anything that breaks their term or break their contract, they can sit for as long as their term states.
Is that right?
Yes, if they don't do anything that would either harm the office that they're in or defame the office that they're in, they can sit there and literally almost do nothing and stay in their position for their 4 years.
Yeah.
Do
He's
we
right.
need better representatives, or at least
No, we
different
need
representatives?
no. We don't need better representatives. We need more incentives to make sure that the representatives actually do work to actually represent the people. The representatives are not going to change the laws that actually, should we say, coerce the representatives to do stuff, need to change.
Oh,
Agreed.
don't hate the player, hate the game. I agree
Exactly.
with
Okay, mate. Does that explain it for you?
that. I still
Probably
have
not.
no idea what the hell is going on over there, but it sounds more or less like the same stuff that's going on over here.
Yep. It's mostly universal. It's mostly happening in almost every country. The representatives don't actually represent the people.
Well, they're following their interests, because I remember I was on a stream and Doku shared a website that had correlated a whole bunch of very interesting information. It correlated basically the major federal representatives for these United States of America. And whether I looked at Elizabeth Warren or Ted Cruz, which I think Ted Cruz actually donated $1,500 to Elizabeth Warren at one point, which, yes, is very interesting. But maybe it was only 500. But if you look at every single campaign, it has them listed out. So it's like $49 million raised last year, $49 million or a tiny bit more approximately spent, very little or no debt, and everyone gets paid. I'm like, wait a second. I'm looking at these campaigns. I'm like, these look like balance sheets of a company. And if I saw a company with these numbers, I'm like, that's a company you want to invest in. I'm like, millions of dollars raised, millions of dollars spent, little or no debt. That's like a AAA rated, like, investment right there. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh dear, this explains a lot.
Yep. They always get what the people that are funding them want, which is why they keep on funding them. But I would put a little bit in on this, which is a case of, obviously we're having a Tory election at this minute in time.
Oh, how's that going?
Yeah, amazingly well. But we have two candidates. We have Boris Johnson and we have Jeremy Hunt. there's a story that I was going to do last week, which, due to unforeseen circumstances, I wasn't able to do the video. Which was that Jeremy Hunt has received a £20,000 donation directly from the Saudi Crown Prince.
Oh, I mean, are they friends? I mean, does he
No.
support his policy or?
Probably supports his foreign policy, yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Where was that from?
Saudi Arabia and the Crown Prince.
Weren't there individuals with associations with said state and individual
Sorry, you
that didn't Mr. Khashoggi get butchered?
Yes. He
Yes.
literally got torn apart.
Yeah. What weren't the individuals that did that? Where were they from?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi
In
Arabia.
fact, they did it in the Turkish Saudi Arabia consulate.
So they did it on Saudi Arabian soil because
Turkey.
an embassy is technically soil
Yep.
that is within another country that is part of NATO.
Yep.
Okay.
And then they lied about it to NATO, and United Nations did a report around about 2-3 weeks ago, basically saying that they have evidence that the Saudi Crown Prince knew that this happened and it was done for him.
Huh.
And these people are providing money to a creature that is attempting to become leader of the Conservative Party. Please do not get me started on my feelings towards Jeremy Hunt. Not if you have any daydreams of there being any form of YouTube not jumping down your throat.
Yeah, that's fine.
All I know is just for sheer mimetic sake, I have wanted to kind of see Boris Johnson at least be prime minister, if even just for one photo with President Donald Trump, just because at that point you got America's often tweeting goofball in chief with the UK's proverbial goofball in chief, and just him tackling that small Asian child. He did it in the friendliest of ways.
He was absolutely amazing. The best thing I ever see him do was waving two flags, basically carouseling from one side to another and literally getting stuck in the middle. That was the best thing I've ever seen of Boris
Is this the closest thing we have left to Monty Python?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. God bless Boris.
And he's our politician and probably will be our prime minister.
Yeah, it's glorious. The world is screwed so badly. If it wasn't so funny, it would be horrifying. But it's as funny as hell. It really is.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, anybody in the chat that wanted to have a more in-depth understanding of the UN report and the Saudi Crown Prince, probably, because you can't say definitely because it wasn't a criminal law, but probably being involved in Hakasagi's murder, I do have it on my channel, and I do go into quite a lot of depth about it and why I think the UN's not going to do fuck all about it. I'll leave you guys to postulate why I think the way that I would do about them not doing anything about it, but I'm sure you can gather.
Oh, and just for a common sense guy news alert, Mr. Eric Swalwell ends his presidential campaign less than 2 weeks after the first debate. I don't really remember much about who the heck he was, so, well, God bless and Godspeed to Mr. Swalwell. That's all.
The one thing that I will say about the Democrats race is that there's only one guy that I actually really like, and that is Yang. I think that if he dropped the universal payment thing that he's going on about, where everybody gets $1,000 a week or month, sorry, I think that he would easily beat Trump.
Well, I mean, if his mic works.
Yeah, well, sabotage and Clinton and Sanders working
It's
together.
not necessarily sabotage. It could have just been technical difficulties, just like Tulsi Gabbard's face had a technicality where a pimple would occasionally appear and disappear.
Yeah, amazing that, and how that they hardly gave her any time when they were by far the two most sensical candidates out of the Democratic selection.
Yeah. They're two of my preferred candidates. I like listening to the stuff that they say. It's very interesting.
No, I agree. I mean, you do have somebody that had the idea of what energy would you use, and she was going into her crystals and how we need good energy. And I thought that was fucking amazing.
Marianne Williams
Yep.
is
Oh
I
wow!
she's
thought that
so
was the Democrat.
amazing.
I thought that was yeah. I thought that was Democratic Party to a T.
Well, I believe the way the DNC has structured these debates is that they're basing continuing on based upon total number of individual donations, and I believe after said debate, a number of folks were donating to Miss Marianne Williams, and unfortunately, I guess Mr. Swalwell was not receiving substantial amounts of donations after the debate.
No, I mean he didn't put himself in glory. He looked like he was sweating a hell of a lot throughout the whole thing and was stuttering quite a bit.
I feel like he said something that was kind of smart, but it obviously it was enough for me to remember.
What, the 2 seconds that he was allowed to speak?
He spoke for like 27.
All right. Sorry, pedantic. I can't believe that I've actually got into the idea of talking about the Democratic bloody candidates. I said I wouldn't get into politics. Fuck you guys.
It's all right. We'll always draw you back.
I know. Fuck you guys.
Join us.
No, I'm leaving forever.
Oh, again?
Yes. I can't say that I didn't just come back and talk about politics when I was literally talking about how Yang was my idea candidate for the Democrats.
Well, things do tend to come full circle.
Yeah, and that's what we call circular logic.
Oh, well, that's my number 10 universal truth.
Yeah, what? Circular logic defines everything.
Oh, except the Earth?
No, I don't think so.
You see what I did there?
I did.
Okay.
I did. It was very obtuse of you.
We've come full orbit.
Yay! What is it? Fuck's sake!
It's an elliptical.
Yeah.
Yes. The egg thingamajigger.
Yes. Yeah.
I like eggs.
I do. Yes, I like eggs as well. Mostly fried.
I'm more of a scrambled person too.
Do you put butter or milk into your scrambled, or do you just
Both?
Nice.
You can do that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yes.
I need to learn how to cook.
Yes. Yeah, some English people actually know how to cook.
Oh, it's more than just fried fish and pot noodle?
To be fair,
Oh my God, yeah.
that's amazing, but yes.
Dude, you want to know like the poor man's ramen? You get some chicken ramen, you cook that up, and then you drain out most of the broth, and then you put a can of tuna in it. So you make the poor man's tuna casserole.
I thought we were having the poor man's ramen.
Oh, but well, I call it casserole. It makes me sound fancier. It's got wicked high sodium, but it's got protein and carbs.
Yeah, nobody wants that much sodium.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then again, my blood pressure was a little high today. Well, after I relaxed and stopped having active nicotine coursing through my veins, it was back down to normal.
Yeah, see, I've quit smoking now for 6 years.
I've been smoking for exactly 6 years.
I started smoking when I was 10, and I didn't give up until I was 27, so 17 years?
Yeah, one of my buddies did that, and he didn't make it.
Oh. Sorry for your buddy, but...
No, that's the reason why I know I've been smoking for 6 years, because I started smoking, like, the year he ended up passing away, and he had started when he was, like, 10. And he also smoked, like, multiple packs a day and was in the service, and...
To be fair, I would smoke a 20 deck a day, so Yeah, at that point. But I was very, very active when I was younger. Very, very active.
Oh, so you were fast trained.
No, I played football all the time, so I was constantly active, or I played tennis.
Oh,
Or two.
well, I was comparing you to a train, like high velocity and spewing smoke.
Whoop, whoop.
All right then. What we got left on the docket? Do we have anything else? We wrapping up? Are we just BSing? What's the dealio?
We can BS for another 5 minutes and then get off for 10. Well, 10 my time, obviously. I think it's 4 your time.
It'll be 5 in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, 5. That's the one. You're 5 hours, not 7. Sorry.
Hmm.
Too many different bloody people from too many different time zones.
I know. If only we had a pictographical chart that existed at some point in history.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's hard to look at a picture chart while you're
Dude,
trying to do a
hey.
stream.
No, CSG, with all the people we know, if we got one of those little news charts and we did a little thing where people put that in the little side where you could report, would that make us a news network?
Oh,
Technically,
Because
yes.
what I've seen throughout history, the one thing that defines a news network is they have that thing that you just described. So you could always see, like, they'd have New York time, Japanese time. Oh, my iPhone does that, I think.
yeah, mine does that as well. My Samsung.
Do you want to be news?
I'm not really that interested. That means that I'd have to be a publisher then.
Oh, well, I mean, you can write like profane things, right?
No, it's more of a case of I don't want to be adhered to actually publishing the truth. I'd rather just spew my opinion.
Oh, well, just label it op-ed like I do.
Oh, to be fair, I probably shouldn't have said that because that's going to be held against me for the rest of my little political YouTube career forever. He never
Oh,
says the truth.
CSG, I mean, for all the things that you've said on these YouTubes, I wouldn't worry about that as much as maybe a lot of other things.
Like what?
I don't think I can speak them.
You can, obviously, because I spoke them before, so I think
Oh,
you'd be able
well,
to
I mean,
utter it.
you can speak them, but I have the freedom to self-censor.
You do have the freedom to self-censor, but you're trying to suggest that I've said something worse than that, and I would like to know what it is, so I can then go back and retract that statement if I feel that it's necessary.
Who's your former prime minister?
What one?
The most recent.
Oh, David Cameron.
Right.
Yeah. What have I said about him?
Okay. You're welcome.
What have I said
Could
about
I
him? Apart from him being a
possibly
pig
the
fucker.
pig? There we go.
But he was a pig fucker. He confirmed it. He played with it. He played with the head and did some stuff with the head. That's not a lie.
Oh,
True.
that wasn't the most recent prime minister I was referring to.
What do you mean, Theresa May? She's still our prime minister.
Oh, I thought she stepped down.
No, she's acting prime minister, so she's still prime minister.
Wait, I thought she stepped down. Did she step down to acting prime minister?
Yes, correct.
Wow. No wonder we're so strange over here. That's what I am stepping down, and I am still acting as prime. Well, to be fair, I guess that. I don't know. Maybe we just have much more shameful culture over here, where it's like if you step down, you're gone. People just wow.
I think it's more of a case of we kind of understand that if she was to step down as is, we don't actually have a leader that would actually take control.
Would it make a difference?
I mean, no, but I mean, figurehead.
I realize Christmas is so much nicer with like an angel or a star on the top of the tree, but I don't think it will be the end of the world if there's something not there for like 3 minutes.
Wait, are you trying to say that government's a pyramid scheme?
Oh, I like trees.
Good answer.
I just saw a Christmas tree in a triangle and thought, the figurehead.
Oh, well, I mean, she'd be still getting compensated for her work just because she's doing her job.
Oh, yeah, she's acting. Though to be fair, she's never acted that well. Just ask her husband. Oh, come on.
I suppose you could argue she's Prime Minister Regent at this point.
No, she's just acting Prime Minister. That's her actual official title.
Okay.
Right. I suppose that I will give the chat an option to be able to ask any of us on the panel a quick question about anything that they so choose. So by the time that you hear that, you should be able to ask us anything that you want to anybody. Just address it to one of us, and we'll have to answer it. But until they actually do that, is there anything else that any of you guys actually want to talk about for the next 2 to 3 minutes?
I think I've given my opinion on all of the important news events of the current time. I don't overly plan to go back over them too much because, after all, you're already in the possible shitstorm with YouTube. And if I go too far with some of my comments, things could go badly for you. And I don't want to do that to you, sir.
Oh, I can do it myself. It's fine.
Fair play, but I've actually not got a problem going full on racist with some of my statements.
Oh, in that case, then shut the fuck up.
Precisely.
Right, no, I thought that was for me.
No, you can go ahead, Mr. Memes. You're just leveling up slowly.
All right. Well, this following shilling segment is brought to you by the Memes of Destruction, moi here, whose website is currently skepticsguild.com. Yes, shill bada bill, because sometimes you just got to lean into the cringe. Isn't that right, Chara? Good kitty. But yeah, check out the Yield channel on YouTube, the Memes of Destruction, or on the Twitters at Meme Destruction. That is all. Thank you, CSG. Shall completed.
Actually, I've got a question for you, Memes. Is that a gun behind you, just in front of the mirror?
What? Oh no, that's actually that's a sword. Hold on. 1 second.
I like the way that he's turned the camera off. Oh, it's come back again.
It just looks like a gun at this
This is actually
angle.
the replica sword from the movie 300. That
Oh, cool.
I only really used sparingly. When was that? 2010, 2011, when I was dressed up with one of my buddies, like the Spartans from 300. We got that, and because I like dwarfs, you always need a good battle axe.
Okay, cool. It just, the angle and things, it looked like it was a gun. I was just kind of curious.
Oh no, to be fair, from the angle and everything, just a little bit more in the distance, definitely looked like a stock. I mean, would that surprise you either way, or?
No.
Not, well, I don't know. You know, I realize you're American and you guys are basically born with an assault rifle in each hand.
Ooh.
But I just don't see you as that much of a gun nut. Now, I'm not taking away from your use of a gun. I'm just making the point I don't define you as a gun nut.
I thoroughly enjoy going to the range and firing firearms.
Good boy.
In that case, I will put you back in the gun nut box and treat you thusly. Not a problem, mate. This is not going to be an issue. In fact, to be fair, we'll probably be able to have much more fun having a chat about firearms now.
Oh no, it's a severe commonality, and it's okay when I forget what representative or senator brought it up in open hearings. The Ronald Reagan riding the Raptor, wielding the M16, that mimetic was not lost on me.
Oh dear God.
You can argue its appropriateness, but I giggled.
Fair enough. I suppose if the chat's not going to give us any questions, then I suppose I'll offer it up to you two if you want to ask any questions to me or to each other at all.
What is your favorite color?
My favorite color?
I feel the urge to go from Monty Python's skit here, so
Okay. I don't really have a favorite color. If I had to guess, I'd probably say blue or bluey green.
So like aquamarine.
Yeah, like a turquoisey kind of color.
Jensen.
I would go with black or green, dependent
would.
on my exact mood.
You would.
So bleen?
Grack?
Grack! Dude! We need to make that crayon. No, because they took away like,
Awesome.
one of the crayons.
What about you?
Oh. Blue. It's the best flavor.
It is. It's almost like blueberry.
If only the
Okay.
schnozberries tasted like schnozberries.
Raspberries, yeah.
Or snaps.
Snaps or smacks?
Schnapps.
What? What?
The
drink.
booze, schnapps.
Oh, schnapps. Peach schnapps, late nights.
Oh, yeah.
Discussions. Mm.
Actually, melon schnapps is really nice.
Ooh.
I just
See,
stick with
that's
Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels and honey, mind you.
Oh, yes, the honey one. Very, very
Dude,
nice.
Honey Jack will probably be going up because there's a less of a competitive supply of Jim Beam coming because like 25,000 gallons kind of got washed into a river after like a big fire.
Woohoo! To be fair, at the minute, my Jack Daniels is for £18 at the minute.
Oh. I'm not sure if you're
Nice.
talking about weight or actual price.
Price, actual price.
Okay. I'm like 18 pounds. I'm like, you have like a cooler and it's just Jack.
Yeah, just Jack.
He's just back there. He's like, hold on, coffee break. All right, here's one coffee bean.
So, Mr. Quinn, what was your Monty Python question?
No, it was a Monty Python skit. He's asked, what's your favourite colour? At this point, you've got the Monty Python and the Knights of the Holy Grail, and you've basically got the big bad guy at the end guarding the bridge. He asks this question. One of them says, blue, no green. Ah! And he's thrown into the long chasm and falls to his doom.
Jensen, are you insinuating I was simply ripping you? You're absolutely right.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Well, in that case, then, if we have no other serious questions, do you two want to shill yourselves? I know memes already had, but you can do again if you want to, and then I will get off and have a good night.
I will actually shill for Mad Dodge. He's another streamer. He likes to talk politics, and sometimes he even makes sense.
Yeah,
Please go and listen. No, I 100% agree with you. Please go and listen to some of the absolute drivel that he talks about. He's usually on at 11 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time or 3 o'clock Pacific Standard. Work it out for your own area.
Around about 6 o'clock for, I believe it's Eastern Standard Time, yours?
Yeah.
I meant memes. But yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah, 6 Eastern Standard Time.
Yep, that's fair enough.
9 p.m. on the West Coast.
Yep. To be fair, Mad Dodge is a decent channel, to be fair. He's a good lad, and it's interesting. It's always interesting. There's always something that you can lose yourself in, whether it's jokes, whether it's politics, whether it's the paranormal or whatnot. It's not a bad channel. You should subscribe if you haven't, but I presume most of you probably already have.
Oh, and he heard you too. Look, he's in the chat. You summoned him.
Oh, bollocks. Wait, if I say that 2 more times, does that mean magic's going to pull up?
Maybe.
Bollocks.
Scary thought.
Sorry, memes, I talked over you as well. So would you like to show yourself if you haven't done already, or if you're happy?
I already shilled, but you can wrap up. I'll shill in the chat.
Yay, chat. I don't really have too much to say. Lots of different social commentary. As I said before, I'm not really going to go into politics, but it's kind of something that I have been interested in. So I presume on some of my live streams, I may accidentally delve into them again by accident or by prompting. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going back on what I said. I want to focus more on social commentary. I want to focus more on the idea of beliefs and why people hold the beliefs in which they do, why they're world building is their why their epistemology. Anyway, I'll leave that for the moment. I can't speak at the minute. I'm tired for some reason. But I'm very interested in the way that people believe and the way that they build their worldviews. I'm very interested in that. So I've got a person that may be interested in coming on. For some people, they might know who he is. The gentleman is called Dark. Fucking hell, I really can't speak at the minute. Darth Dawkins, or as some people may know him as Evolution Falls. He's a Christian YouTuber. He's quite prominent in the theist and anti-theist communities. Most people will know who he is. If you don't, that's not a problem. He's a very interesting guy. So hopefully I might be able to have him on soon, though I am looking for more religious people in general. So of any religious sect, of any religion in itself, because I really want to talk to them about not their idea of God, because I don't believe in the idea of being able to debate whether God exists or whether God doesn't exist anymore. I don't see the point in it. But I do want to understand the reasons why people choose to believe in that aspect, because I can't understand it. So I want to try to understand it. But that's just me trying to just do myself. I am going to be doing some more videos. And yes, I realize I just said do myself. I'm now going to leave. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Jensen. Thank you very much, Memes. Thank you very much for coming on. And I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye-bye for now.